Hey Matt, how you doing?
Good, Steven. How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
Hey, I'm wondering if you can, maybe in a short way, um, tell me just what you see in terms of, I guess you've had 3 years, I guess, in defense now, 4 years. Um, Going into this season, where are you guys at, from where you started to where you are now? The culture is in place and all that. Just so where are you, do you think, when you look at your long-term plan?
Yeah, so you start here 3 years ago, and you start with the foundation of what you want to get done defensively, and really as a football team. And I think we've built that over the last 3 years. You certainly have positive moments and moments where you got to have adversity, which every football team has, and you learn and get better from those. So I think we're right where we need to be. The foundation for us in terms of what we've preached here since the beginning is it's obviously the things that we've always talked about. You guys have heard this many times, but it's the hustle, intensity, takeaways, and then being smart players. I think guys have bought into that. Really having the guys that are in the system now for going into the fourth year. We have several of those players, and then 3 years, and then 2 years. So we've the Chris and them have drafted well to the system, and so I think we're where we need to be.
Joel Erickson.
What have you seen out of Rocky Sin this camp? Do you think he's taking forward?
Yeah, so Rocky Sin has been in there competing like the rest of the guys. I think that he's had his good moments. I said a couple weeks ago that he's had a good camp. So we're excited to see where he is this week, in terms of the practices. But again, we're looking at all matchups and all different things right now as we look at situational football. So that's going to continue to look at that throughout the week, and we'll see where guys match up.
Kevin Bowen.
Matt, Frank was talking yesterday about how you guys have made some subtle defensive scheme changes here in your fourth year. Obviously, you aren't going to tell us a ton on that, but would you say, formationally, how you use personnel, if you care to share anything on that front?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at those, if you look at 18, then 19, then 20, look at the last 3 years, there have been subtle changes that we've made, just really from the growth of our players, of what they can handle, what they can do, and then just small schematic changes as we go. And this year's no different than that. So really, as you know, Kevin, I can't comment more than that, but that's kind of where we are right now.
Wells.
Flus, you can go ahead and tell us. We won't tell anybody what you guys did with the scheme. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, sure, Mike. I got you.
What has been the biggest leap that Kwity has made from when you guys first got him, shortly after the draft, to where it looks like, barring something crazy, he's a day one starter for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, just getting used to pro football, and then making some subtle changes in his technique. We started with his stance. We started with his approach to his pass rush. Those are really the basic things that we adjusted from college. His ability to play, a 6 technique and a 9 technique, and playing over the tight end. Those things are all things he had to learn, and he's still learning. It's the biggest growth, we know, is from year 1 to year 2. So he's got a lot of growing to do this course of this first year. And, I tell him, hey, it's like a Rolodex you put, and I tell him every practice something you learn, you put into that file and you keep it. And, during the game, he's going to learn 3 or 4 or 5 things during the game. He's like, oh man, that came up here, or how I got this guy, or how I played against that guy. So he's got to take really good notes in his mind, which he does. He's got a great ability to recall and a great ability to use what he's learned going forward. I could just, a couple examples of that would be in practice. He would learn cutoff block on the 6 technique, and he'll learn where his hand placement was and how he did it, and he'd come back to the next play and do it the right way. So he does that really well.
For people who aren't familiar with your team, they can say, where's the sacks going to come from? You lose, you don't resign Justin, Danico goes down to Tennessee. When you look at it, how confident and comfortable do you feel about your pass rush and ability to get to the quarterback this season?
Yeah, we feel real confident in the front four and the guys that are rotating in there. We got 6 or 7 guys that are going to be in there rushing the quarterback, as a rotational, part of that pass rush group. And we feel good about our secondary players, bringing guys from the second level. We bring guys, Kari Willis, Kenny Moore, Julian, Darius, and Bobby. We feel good about bringing those and sometimes bringing the corner. So we feel good about where we are, and sacks and pressures are going to come from all spots.
Jim Aiello.
Hey, man. I think we all know it was kind of a frustrating up and down year for Ben Banigou last year. I talked to him the other day. He said it was good at the end of the year to kind of get away. He said it was good for the coaches to get away, from him, and said he came back and it was a fresh start. I was wondering, did he need that fresh start, and did you guys kind of need that fresh start when working with Ben?
Yeah, what I noticed about Ben when he came back was his attitude was great. He was, it felt like he was at a different spot in terms of he was going to get it done, attitude. Yes, I can attitude, and working well and really absorbing what we were saying, absorbing what he was doing well, really listening to himself in terms of, hey, this is how I feel when I'm making this move or adjusting and trying to get to the quarterback that way, and trying to learn from his own experiences. And to me, I thought he really took a big step in terms of his maturation and growth that way. So I thought it was really, really good for him. Just me looking and observing him, and his work patterns on the practice field were really good. And in terms of how he absorbed what he was learning on the practice field and then took it to the next practice. And I thought he got better that way. And his effort is the first thing I noticed on the practice field, man. His chase and his running to the ball, that was consistent and at a high level, and one of the better guys on the football team throughout the course of training camp. So that's what I noticed. And he was at a good spot mentally.
Is there any reason you think it took a couple of years to get to that point for him?
I just think it's maturation. I really do. I think it's, each individual guy's different. Sometimes guys take a little bit of time. Some guys get it right away and then they fall away and then they have to come back to it. It's every guy's different. And I just think that he's in a good spot right now.
JJ.
Hey, Matt, going back to Quiddy, how will it stress him mentally for his first NFL game to come against a quarterback in Russell Wilson who gets outside the pocket, does a lot of scrambling, and can do a lot of those things with his legs?
Yeah, our message to him is just, stay with the fundamentals. Just one cycle of the snap, put your hand in the dirt, get off on the football, and then play that one play. A quick assessment of that play and then move on to the next snap. It's like writing a book, and I've said this before with you guys, is that you have a book for game one. What does that look like? Play one, you get the call, do your alignment, your assignment, execute your technique, turn the page, and then go to the next play. And that's what he has to do. And that's what all of our players got to do, because there's going to be plays that they make, plays that we make. It's like, being a prize fighter. You're going to take blows and you're going to give blows, and you just got to keep working through the game.
I guess when you talked about, his ability to, process information and have that recall.
Yeah.
How do you see that helping him on Sunday, going against specifically this Seahawks offense?
Yeah, it'll help him during the game, because if he sees a certain thing that he saw earlier in the game, that's going to help him for the next play, or maybe a play in the third or fourth quarter. And then it'll also help him grow game to game. And I think that's what's going to help him. That's what's helped him all along to be able to grow to this point.
Zach Kiefer.
Matt, they've got some weapons. Seattle has some weapons at receiver, as you know. What will you tell your corners this week? And then secondly, is it almost a little bit of a benefit that you've had 2-3 weeks to really dive into them because it's the opener?
Yeah, so, with the corners against these really good receivers, they have obviously a high talent, a tandem that's been very productive the last, few years and really good players. I think it benefits us when playing our own receivers during training camp, because we do have bigger receivers. You look at our guys, there's some big guys in there with, Mike that we just signed. Zach's big, there's, Pitt, all those guys are bigger type muscle receivers that do a great job. And I think that's going to lend for us to be able to play those types of receivers during the course of the year, because we're going to face those guys in division. We're going to face them week one. We're going to face them that way. So I think it's really beneficial for us what we've seen so far with our own guys. And our own guys are really scrappy, fighting type guys. And so I think that's a great experience for us.
Chap.
Flus, with all you said about Quiddy and the maturity and all that, do you still feel the need to tell him, or I guess maybe he knows, but training camp is different from preseason, and preseason is there's another level that he hasn't experienced yet. Do you need to sort of say, be ready or not?
Yeah, I think he's so mature as a competitor. I think that having the game experience in preseason will help him, and I think he'll be right in the right spot, Chap, where he needs to be for game one. And he'll feel that energy in Lucas Oil, and then just build on from that. He should be excited and have a positive energy about him with the rest of the defense going into that first game.
So from your view, this guy's wired the right way to kind of balance execution and adrenaline.
Yeah, well, he always tells me about the big house, 110,000 people screaming and yelling. So he says he's ready to go, and I believe him.
Thanks, Lewis.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap up with Kevin Bowen.
Matt, when you compare like Russell Wilson to other quarterbacks that can extend plays and things like that, is he similar to anybody you guys see in the AFC, or just what makes him so unique as a scrambler, but certainly willing to throw?
Yeah, he's dangerous because the ability to throw the ball down the field once he does scramble. He's a little bit unique that way, where some guys look for the intermediate pass. This guy looks all the way down the field, and he's really it's a really big weapon for them. And we're going to have to be on it defensively. But yeah, he's unique.